It's on.
Hi Amy and Grace. I am so excited because I have found so many great Usborne Books and More books today that I think Grace is going to love. So I wanted to start out with Volcanoes. This is one of our early beginner series books. There are actually 42 titles in this series. And Colin has one of these on ants, and it's incredible because I have learned a ton about ants through his book about ants. I was flipping through Volcanoes and I actually noticed this section here on black smokers. That was something that I definitely didn't know about before. So these books are cool because they have a lot of interesting information in them, and they're also really beautifully illustrated. And they are easier to read, so once Grace does get a little further along in her reading, they're considered beginner readers, so they are good for that as well. They're only $4.99, which is really cool. They're short enough to read at bedtime, so these little early beginner series books are very cool. Next, I'm excited to show you How Things Work. When you said that Grace was very mechanical, this is the first book that popped into my head. These are normally for an older age range, 7+, but Grace sounds a lot like Colin, and Colin really enjoys the See Inside series of books. So this is simply all about how different machines work. It's a Lift the Flap book. Usborne's really well known for its Lift the Flap books. And it's got all kinds of machines. There are flaps inside of flaps in this book, which is fun. And then there are musical instruments. This to me is a really fun page. You can learn how the toilet works. You can look inside the walls of your house, see all the pipes where all the water goes. Squirt guns, water slides. The page at the very end I think is really neat too because it's just kind of how all different household objects work. So I think that one's really cool. A lot of stuff that I never even thought about, but I have learned a lot from this book as well. So that's See Inside How Things Work. They also have See Inside Trains, I believe. There's 10 titles in the See Inside titles, so that might be something else that Grace might be interested in. Sorry. Next I wanted to show you Usborne's Peek Inside Space. There are 8 titles in the Peek Inside series, including Peek Inside Dinosaurs. So these books are a little more geared towards younger kids. The age range is 3+ on these, but they are so beautiful. I had to show you one. There's all sorts of flaps and cutouts. And this is a nonfiction book as well, so there's all sorts of amazing information. I gotta show you this page. I think it's really cute. You can dress the astronaut. So those are our Peek Inside books, and again, there's 8 in that series, and I'm not sure if they might be a little too young for Grace, but I'm a big fan of these personally. I just think that they're really beautiful and really neat. So that's Peek Inside Space. Next, I wanted to show you a Muddle and Match book. When you said that Grace likes to put things together and take them apart, it made me think of these. So there's different flaps in here, or I guess panels would be the right way to say it. And there's a lot of alliteration, so when they're all together, it makes a story with all the same letters. So Petula, the pretty and pink princess, pops into the palace gardens to pick poppies with her pet puppy Pickles. But you can totally change the story and make it really wacky by arranging the panels however you want. And kids really enjoy that, so it changes up the story, and it really made me think of Grace when you talked about her putting things together and taking them apart. And these are only $8.99, so that's a pretty great price point too. That series has 6 titles. There's ones on monsters, there's ones on sports, I think animals, so those are very cool. Next I was going to show you a book that Colin loves. Usborne is also well known for its beautiful encyclopedias. This one is on world history. Colin loves history, that's his thing. So we also have one on the ancient world and medieval times, and then we also have the more general children's dictionary, or encyclopedia, sorry. But Usborne has one like this, exactly like this about science. So I wanted to show you a peek inside to see if maybe that's something that Grace might be interested in. Basically, these encyclopedias are just full of the most gorgeous illustrations and tons of information. Colin has an hour of quiet time every day, and he will take his encyclopedias up into his bed and just sit with them for the entire hour. And then sometimes he comes across things that he wants to learn more about. So after quiet time, or maybe before bedtime, we'll read a couple of pages from these encyclopedias. And at only $19.99, I think you get an incredible amount of information for the price. Another cool thing about these is that they have internet links, so there are certain pages where you can go to a website and learn more about the different things in the encyclopedia. I'm just going to show you a quick look at the catalog to show you the science encyclopedias. These are the science encyclopedias that are just like this. And then, additionally, I was going to show you these pages. There are so many different science resources in Usborne. There's a first encyclopedia of science. I haven't gotten the chance to look inside that one, but that might actually be really interesting as well. Next, I wanted to move on to this Lift the Flap word book. You had said that Grace was identifying a lot of sight words, and I think that is awesome. And so if you wanted to pursue that further, this is a book that we have for Colin called Lift the Flap word book. So even on the intro page, there's the sun, and there's the word sun, which is really cute. But basically it works two different ways. So you can look here and see that that's a barn, and then you can find the word barn on the other side as well. Yep, there it is. So they have those types of pages, and then they also have this, which is a little more like a game. So there's the foot. Try and find the word foot. Are you right? Oh yeah, there it is. So these are cool because it's something that maybe Grace could work on by herself if you needed her to have some independent time. Really cute. So there's the doll, 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 doll. Great book for sight words. Next, I wanted to talk about this. This is what Usborne calls a dual reader. We have the complete book of Farmyard Tales, but there's also the complete book of Princess Tales. There's the little book of Train Stories. Usborne has a ton of dual readers. This one is a combined volume. It comes with a CD. As you can see, there are tons of stories in here. Combined volumes are a great way to save a little bit of money in Usborne. There's a map of the farm. But the dual reader concept is something that I think is really neat and really versatile. Basically, at the top of the stories, there's a simple sentence for beginner readers. Then at the bottom of the pages, there is a more detailed sentence that adds more to the story. What's really neat is that the story makes sense as a whole with just the sentences on the tops of the pages. So this works on so many different levels. If you're reading to someone with a shorter attention span, maybe a toddler, you could just read the sentences at the top and move through the book quickly. If Grace is interested in reading, y'all can read together, and she can read the sentences at the top, and you can read the sentences at the bottom. That way, it's a little more interesting for her. Y'all are doing it together. It's a lot of fun. If she's by herself, she can just read the top sentences, and again, the story will still make sense. And finally, of course, as she advances in her reading, she'll be able to read the whole thing. So that is a dual reader, the complete book of Farmyard Tales. But again, I think she might enjoy a different one better based on her interests. Similarly, I wanted to show you my first reading library. This has a QR code that you can scan to find a parent's guide to reading these with your child. But basically, this is to advance all the way through early grade school, from very beginning reading, and they're meant to go in order, through early grade school. So this is one of the first books, Pirate Pat. And these early ones, there are some dual readers again. So you guys would read this, and then Grace would read this at the bottom. I just think it makes it more fun because you're doing it together, and it also makes it a little more interesting than some of the other beginner phonics readers that are just very, very simple. And something else that I love about these is at the back there are little games and puzzles so that you can make sure that they are retaining what they read. Everyone has different games. And then when you make it to the end, the books are a little more complicated, and the child would be reading all of the text themselves. But we still have the games, Very cute. Colin is not working on reading yet, but he just enjoys taking all 50 of these books out of here almost every day and picking a few of his favorites and having us read them to him over and over and then doing the puzzles in the back. So again, that is my first reading library. It is $79.99, which might seem steep, but it is for 50 titles, so I think it's still a really great value. I'm excited for Colin to start reading and be able to take more advantage of that set. This is one of the phonics readers. Usborne has a ton of phonics readers. The stories are just really cute and really well illustrated. Colin loves ants, so we have Underpants for Ants. Nan sells fancy fans and lamps. Handbells, clamshells, pans and stamps. So just to look into one of the phonics readers, and there's a ton of those if you're interested. Those also come in combined volumes. Again, a great way to save money. So this is Raccoon on the Moon and Other Tales. It's just a collection of a whole bunch of different phonics readers. And Colin enjoys us just reading these to him as well. Okay, next I wanted to show you something that Usborne is really well known for. And you'll see why. They're very cool. They're one of the things that sold me on Usborne initially. These are their Shine a Light books. There are 11 titles in the series, and I've picked out a few that I thought Grace might like. So we've got Shine a Light on the Human Body, Shine a Light on the Train, and Shine a Light on the Space Station. These are nonfiction books, which seems like something that would appeal to Grace. And they're about 40 pages long. They're pretty decent length books. But what's really special about them is that you shine a flashlight or hold up to the light the page. I like to use my phone, and you can see stuff appear that you couldn't see before. So this one says, at last the spaceship joins one of the 4 docking ports on the space station. What do the astronauts find inside the space station? You can see the astronauts. So then on the next page it tells you what you were seeing. Hello, the astronauts open the hatch and meet the crew already on the space station.